Good morning, everyone. What we're going to work on today is percents, and that seems to be where everyone's always the most nervous about. So we're going to spend the entire day on percents. So let's look at sort of the large picture percents. So let's say that I have an $80 dress, and let's say that I have 10% off. So if it's 10% off, well, actually, let me do it this way. So I have an $80 dress, and if it's 10% off, then that will be $8. Okay. And whenever we talk about the full cost of a dress or anything, it's 100%. So 100% is always the full price or original price. And when I look at how much I pay at the register, well, then that'll be $90. Oops, I'm sorry, $72. That'll be 90%. Now, I want you to see that these two things work in tandem, right? $80 minus 8 is 72, and 100% minus 10% is 90%. And what will happen is that in your problems, they will give you two of these numbers. It's either a number or a percent, and they'll want you to find the third one. Okay. Cool. Put this up. Save it. Now we could also do this in terms of addition. So let's say I have a $60 dinner. And then let's say I have a 10% tax. So that'll be $6 tax. So when we talk about what we pay at the register we would pay $66, which is 110%. Okay. So again, they're going to give us two of these numbers. It could be this one and this one, or this one and this one, and a percent, and they'll want us to find the third one. Now, let me give everyone a second to copy that down. Now, when you were going to elementary school and they taught you percents, they basically gave you these two numbers, or they gave you those two numbers and they wanted you to find this one. Okay. So normally what happens is the teacher would give you this little rhyme, this over this, or this times this, when you have this times this, or there's this little rhyme, or I forget what the rhyme is, but every teacher has a little acronym or a rhyme that says, this times this percent is equal to this, and then you add them, or this times this percent is equal to this, and then you subtract it. That rhyme doesn't work on the TEAS exam because they know that your 8th grade teacher and your 7th grade teacher were not giving you the hard problems. The hard problems are, I give you this number and that number, and you give me this number. Or I give you this number, and you give, and this percent, and you give me this number. Okay, so if you have like a standard way of doing this before, it won't necessarily work on the TEAS, because the TEAS knows that in elementary school, they only taught you this, and then get that. And what they're looking for is a way to separate the students who are weaker from the ones that are stronger, which is why they'll give you this number and that number more often than not. Now, let's go through one more step, and then we'll tie these two together. So if I have a $80 dress, that's 100% of my dress. Okay, so remember that whenever we say full price, original price, that's 100%. Okay. Now, this is also, if I can think of this like a fraction. So this is also 8 over 10%. This is also 4 over 5%. So if I want to look at 5% of $80, that's just $4. 10% of $8 is just 10% of $80 is just $8. Now, the nice thing about this also is that this also does something that fractions normally can't do, is that we can say 8 plus 4 is equal to 10% plus 5%. So I get 12 over 15%. Now remember, if you have a question, interrupt me. Okay. Now, whenever I teach this section, even though I say, I know you have this little song in your head and you always do the song and it works, I'm going to start out giving you problems where the little acronym or the song that your teacher gave you doesn't work. Okay. So I want you to just do it my way. If you do it the way I'm going to teach you right now, this will always work. Always work. Now, the first problems we're doing are find one of these values. Okay. We will first do problems where we find a number. And then afterwards, we'll do a problem where we solve for a percent. Now, I'm sorry it's a little noisy. They're doing road construction in front of my house. So let's try a problem. A dress. And pays $72 for a dress that is 10% on sale. What was the original cost of the dress? So let's think about this. So what we want to do is make the connection between all the numbers that we have. Okay. So what I want to find is the original cost of the dress. That's what we don't know. What we do know is that the dress cost $72 and it was 10% off. Now, if you want, you can turn these into decimals, or you could just drop the percent on both sides. And then we can do cross multiplication. Now, usually you do cross multiplication like this with the fractions, but you don't have to. I can just move the ones that I want to move. I want to move that one up there. Oops, I'm sorry, 80. So do you see how nice this is? In this one, they gave you this piece of information and this piece of information. Okay. And what they wanted was this piece of information. Oh, I'm sorry. They give you this piece of information and this piece of information. And what you have to do is you have to say, well, if it's 10% off, how much is this? And then you make that a fraction. We always know full price is the full price over 100%. So let's try another one like this. A dress is on sale for 10%. If and save $8, what was the full price at what was full price? Okay. So that's one. Now assume that you didn't know this. What did N pay at the register? Okay, so I want you to solve this problem. Okay, pretend we don't know the answer. I want you to solve this problem given this information. Then forget it, and then I want you to solve this problem given this information. Okay. So remember that you're trying to find a pair. you're either gonna have 80 over 100%, 8 over 10%, or 72 over 90%. Okay, so let's look at this one over here. Okay. So, and say 10%. So we know that this 8 and 10% are connected, right? So we have 8 and we have 10%. Now, what we want to know is full price. Now, remember, full price is X over 100%. So when we move this up here, we have X is equal to 8 times 100 over 10. Well, let me move this around. X over 100 is equal to 8 over 10. Oops, 10. We're going to bring this up here. And we have X is equal to 8 times 100 divided by 10. So we can see in this one, we were given this piece of information, and see how this turns into a fraction? Right? They're on the same row, so that gives you your fraction, 8 over 10. And then it wants you to find this full price. So full price is always something over 100%. Now try doing this one. So given this information, so since you're given the same information, this part will be exactly the same. So you just have to understand, what does it mean for what did Ann pay at the register? Let's take a look at this. All right, so over here, a dress is on sale for $10, 10%. Oh, a second. Oh, shoot, I need to give you one more piece of information. Let's give you so let's I didn't give you enough information here. Address is on sale for 10%. And then go and saved $8. What did she pay? Okay, that's better. Sorry about that. Let's take a look at it. So this part's the same. So we have $8 over 10% is equal to, now we're paying, we don't know how much we're paying, but it is 100% minus 10%. So we have X over 90 is equal to 8 over 10. And then we'll bring that up. And we get X is equal to 8 times 90 divided by 10. That. All right, now let's do this without a safety net where I don't have these numbers here. Okay. So let's do something like Kim bought a $50 what did she buy? A $50 dinner that was discounted 8%. what was full price. Now, remember, anytime they're saying full price, we're going to this top row, that 100%. Let's go back to it. So we can say $50 was discounted. And if it was 8%, then if this $50 is 92%. So we want to know what 100% is. So we can move the 100 up here. And we get X is equal to 100 times 50 divided by 92. And I get, can't be right. Oh, I have this, I dyslexiated. 92 over 100. So I have 50 times 0.92. So this is equal to 46. Let's try another one. So let's try one that's sort of in this genre where we're adding. Dinner with tax was $25. If tax is 8%, what?
Professor, a quick question.
Sure.
On that last problem, did you cross multiply? I'm sorry, the 292x, then you did 50 times 100 or?
Oh, did I mess that up? Yeah, I did mess that up, huh? You're right. Thank you. I did have it right originally.
Thank you.
Okay. I did have that right originally. Okay, thank you for catching me. Oh, here we go. 5434. 5435 if we round it. Try doing that one. Take a look at this one. All right. So dinner with taxes 25. So with tax, it's more expensive than the. Right, so that's with tax, so that's dinner plus the 8%. And this is equal to, we want to know what the original cost of the dinner was. So we'll bring this comes up here. And then get X is equal to 25 times 100. So 25 times 100. 108. So this one was 23.15. Let's try another one. Now let's move away from money and just do it in a different way and just not use money, but do something like a company increased. No. After a 20% raise, you make $30 per hour. What were you making per hour? Excuse me. Let's take a look at this. So you got a 20% raise. So with your 20% raise, you make, that's 120% of what you used to make. So now you want to know what you are making. So let's bring this up here. So we get X is equal to 30 times 100 divided by 120. It's equal to 25. Okay, spread out.
Professor, just a quick question.
Yeah,
What would be the fastest, or is there an easiest way for you to recognize when you have to do, for example, from the problem that you just erased, sorry, when you have to do 92, from 100 instead of 120 from the last, from this last problem?
oh, good question. I think the main thing is whether something increases, like when you pay tax, it increases from the original price. When you get a raise, it increases from what you originally had. So remember that 100% is the original or the full price. So whenever they say something like a sale, discount, sometimes they'll say you lose weight, that's a minus. Anytime you gain weight, have to pay tax, or get a raise, anything that makes the original price goes up, that's when you add. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. All right, let's try another one. Let's try after a 10% decrease in employees, there are 232 employees. How many were fired? Okay, so now when you think of this question, are we going down or are we going up in employees? And then that tells you whether to subtract or add. So there are 232 employees after we fired 9%. So there's only 90% left. So now we bring this up here and we get X is equal to 232 times 100 divided by 90. So 232 divided by 0.9. So there were 258 after we rounded. Okay. Now, after I gave you this a whole bunch of difficult ways, let's go back to see if we can do the more straightforward way. Okay. Dinner costs $40. Tax and tip is 22%. What did you pay in total? Look at this. Okay, so you have $40 is 100%. And you want to pay 122%. So it's 40 times 122 divided by 100 is equal to X. So you can see that this will work for every case. Like there's no like, if they ask you for this number, use this formula. If they ask you this number, use this formula. If they ask you for this number, use this formula. The nice way about this is that you attack these problems exactly the same way, regardless of what numbers they give you. So please do it this way. And I'm not saying this because it's my way. it's that, you know, the first time I started teaching this, I had the student where she goes, no, I got this. I got this. Don't worry. I got this little rhyme that my teacher gave me and it works most of the time. I'm like, it works most of the time because your teacher wants you to pass in 8th grade and 7th grade. They don't want to catch you. But the TEAS exam, they're going to focus on this number and you give them this number and this number, or this number and this number. They're not starting you off with that number and that number, which is what this problem is. This is the problem where all the rhymes work. So I've learned since that give you a whole bunch of problems like the TEAS give you so that you'll learn to just do it this way. Okay. Now, what we've been doing here is we've been just calculating for these values. None of these say find the percent, right? Find the percent, right? We haven't been working at all on trying to find the percent of $8 or $72 or 100%, right? We haven't been doing that. So now we're going to work on problems that say find the percent. So let's erase this. And let's do this. Let's take a 5-minute break. We're cooking through this material pretty quickly. Let's take a 5-minute break. It'll make the second part a lot easier to pay attention to. Okay. So we'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back. Okay, let's get going. Yeah, let's get going. Give me 1 second. Okay, now, what we want to work on now is percents. Okay, so how do I find the percent? Now, let's think of something. Let me give you two separate problems. Address is discounted from $80 to $72. Okay, so I have this scenario. Now the question is, I can ask two separate questions here. I can say, one, what percent was the dress discounted? Or I can say, right, give them the same information. What percent? Oh, I'll say, oh, I'm sorry. What percent did you pay? And over here I have what percent is the discount. So there's two ways of looking at this. One way, well, for this one, what was going on, oh, actually, let me give everyone a second to copy first. Now, this can, we can think of it this way. Okay. I have $80 and I'm going to $72. Okay. So the difference is $8. Maybe we'll make this into green. So when they're saying what percent did you pay? Okay. In terms of what did I pay, this is what I paid. So this would be 72 over 80, which is equal to 0.10. And then you'll move this two places and you'll get 10%. And then on this one, we're looking at what was our discount? how much money did we save? So now this one is $8 over, oh, I'm sorry, this should be 90. Sorry about that. Over 80 is equal to 0.10. We'll move the decimal 2 places and we'll get 10%. So this is sort of the question that you have, right? The number that they're asking for, are they asking for the difference? Right? Or are they asking for what number did I get at the end? Now, sometimes use with the words that they use, they'll sort of hint at, are we looking at this one or are we looking at this one? Sometimes. So sometimes when they'll go 72 out of 80, or they'll say what percent is 72 from 80. They sort of infer this idea of I've got 80 things, and from the inside, I have 72. Okay. So sometimes when they use the word out of, you kind of know that they're doing the sort of big number over the where I ended up over what I started with. Okay. Now, if they use the word percent increase, percent decrease, percent change, percent difference. But sometimes they'll also say percent. Usually when they say these words right here, they're looking for the change. And understand that the change is always a positive number. So even though this may be smaller and this may be bigger, this is always positive, right? So we just want the difference. Now they may also say percent. So be careful that this word percent, it shows up both here and it also shows up right here. So when it says what percent, you got to be really careful. But when it says 72 out of or percent increase, decrease, change, difference, then you kind of know whether you have this situation, right? The difference, the change, or where we ended up. So for these, you want to do something like, it would be the 8 out of 80 case. Okay, so let's do some problems. Now I'm gonna put one of the worksheets that I gave you in the chat. Oh, and then Fred, I didn't receive your homework. Make sure you send it to me today, okay? You there, Fred?
Yes.
You
Email?
might, yeah, you might have sent it to the wrong email, so I put the email that I needed to, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. So let's put this in the chat. I also emailed it to you, so if you can download it from the chat, we can you can just grab it from your email. Okay. So let me share screen. And then this worksheet's going to be your homework for it's going to be your homework tonight. Okay. Or I guess for this week. Okay. So let's look at this right here. So the sales tax rate, okay, I want to know what the sales tax rate is. So the amount of tax I'm paying is 120. So it's not asking for the, what percent difference did I pay for the hat? It's just asking like, hey, 120 out of 25 is how much money? So this would be 1.2 divided by 25 is equal to 0.048 is equal to 4.8%. Okay. So I'm just wanting to know what the percent is of this $1.20. Right. So the smaller number over the total gives me that percent. Try 31 over here. Now, this one is sort of the opposite one, right? We went from being 50 to becoming 54 inches tall. Okay. So I want to know what percent he increased. Well, the amount that he increased was 4 inches. So this is 4 divided by 50 is equal to 0.08 is equal to 80%. Okay. Try doing 12. Let me do this one down here. Now, we can sort of see the word percent increase. So that tells me that I want to know the difference over the total, right? So in this one, we used to sell 40. And now we sell 50. So the difference is 10. So this is 10 divided by what we originally sold. Okay. So that's equal to 0.25, it's equal to 25%. Okay, does anyone have questions on what we're doing right now? How this is working out?
So far, so good. Thank you.
Okay, so far so good, okay. So let's try another one. So let's go to page 2. Let's do number 8 and then let's do number 9. So 8, 9, and then the 6 over here. Okay. So over here, we want to know what percent this $3 is, right? That's his raise compared to the 20. It says, what percent is his raise? Well, his raise is $3, so that's 3 divided by, let me do a different color. 3 divided by 20 is equal to 0.15, which is percent. Okay. Let's try this one over here. Now, this one over here, we want to know the percent increase. So that sort of gives us hints to us that this person's going from 25 to 5, that we want 5 over 20, which is equal to 0.25 or 25%. Okay, let's do this one over here, number 6. So over here, think of this as 38 out of 40, 400. Okay. So that will be 38 divided by 400, right? They're not asking us about a difference of the 38. So that's equal to 0.095, so 9.5%. Okay. Now, if we go up a little bit, let's see if I can go up a little bit. Let's see if we can do this number 4 over here. So for this one, we're going from 20 to 28. And we want to find the percent increase. So it hints to us that we want the difference. So we have 8 over the original value, which is 0.40, which is 40%. Okay. Let's go to the next page. Actually, let's skip see, I'm trying to find a good one. No. Oh, okay. So let's finish this. This one's good. This one's done. So let me clear this. Okay. Now, let's work on the other worksheet that I sent to you. So let me give you 1 second. Okay. Let's do one more thing first, and then if we have time, we'll go to the next workshop. Okay. The next question. Okay. Now, the next series of questions are consecutive numbers. So even though this isn't on the TEAS handbook, I know students have told me that they've seen these problems on the exam. And we want to knock these questions out because they're a quick kill. So, two consecutive numbers. Sum to let's go 27. What are the two numbers? Okay. Now, you know these questions are these questions because they'll take consecutive numbers. So they may have a little story behind it saying the room numbers of two consecutive the room two room numbers are consecutive numbers. Or they may say two students have jersey numbers that are consecutive numbers. Okay. So whenever you see the word consecutive number, regardless of what story is behind it, this is how you attack the problem. Now, what they're saying is that we have two numbers that when we add them together, right, they they are 27. Doesn't look like a 7, does it? Now, when we say consecutive numbers, we mean like 5 plus 6 is equal to 11, or 8 plus 9 is equal to 17. We want to say, what two numbers do we add up and get 27? Okay. Now, what you want to do is you want to divide the 27 by how many numbers there are. So this will give me 13.5. This is the middle value. Okay. Sometimes it's in the answer, sometimes it's not. Depends on how many numbers they're asking you to do. So what you want to do now is answer the question. What is the number smaller and bigger than 13.5? Okay. The number smaller is 13. The number bigger is 14. And when we add them together, we get 27. So that's why this is your answer.
What about three consecutive numbers?
Yeah, we're gonna do that one in a second. All right, so great question. Let's do three consecutive numbers, and then let's do three consecutive odd, three consecutive even. Okay. So let's try two consecutive numbers. Sum to 72. What are the numbers? So go ahead and do what we did here. Divide it by 3. So we have 72 divided by 3 is equal to 20.
Two numbers, Professor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant 3. Sorry about that. You asked 3. Let's do 3. Oh, okay, we'll do the 2 first. Okay, so 72, this won't work. It won't work because it's even. If you add 2 numbers, one's even, one's odd, and you should get an odd number, so I apologize, that one won't work. Let's try that one. Okay. Look at this. All right. So we'll go 72 divided by 3 is 24. Is that right? So this is the middle value. Now, because there's 3 values, there's nothing wrong with using that in your answer. So it's 24, 23, and 25. So when there's 3, this will be in your answer. When there's 2, you'll get a decimal and that will not be in your answer. Okay. Now let's do another one. Let's do 2 consecutive odd or 2 consecutive even. Okay. 2 consecutive odd numbers. 2, it's 64. So let's look at this. So let's divide by 2. So 64 divided by 2 is 32. Now, remember that we're looking for odd numbers. This is not an odd number. So it's not in your answer, but it's the middle value. So that this will turn into 31 and 33. These are the two odd numbers that are separated by 32. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter where it says consecutive odd or consecutive even. You want to divide by how many numbers they state, and then look at the question. So while you're copying that one, let me do this one. So 3 consecutive even. Let's see, sum 2. Let's see. Let's say 138. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So let's go 138 divided by 140, 138 divided by 3 is equal to 46. And then this is even. So these two match. So that's the middle number. So we want the number that's bigger and smaller also. So remember, it's bigger and smaller that are even. So these also need to be even. Okay. So whenever you have three consecutive numbers, that middle number will be part of your problem. And when you have two, that middle number will not. Okay, let me give everyone a second to copy that, and then I'm going to put a worksheet in the chat, and then we'll work off of that in terms of fractions.
Okay.
I mailed this one to you also. And I apologize for the noise. Okay, now I like these problems because, excuse me, they're random. Okay, so now that we've gone through every different type of word problem that you can do, let's walk through these. So go ahead and try this one here. Try question 1. And then this is going to be part of your homework. So go ahead and do question 1, and then we'll walk them together.
Can you return to the homework assignment, please?
Say that again.
Can you return the slides for homework assignment? Please.
Can I return what?
I cannot see the assignment. You changed the slide.
Oh, okay. So can you see in the chat? I put in a file.
Okay.
Are you able to download it from the chat? Or if you check your email, I emailed it to you also. Thelma, are you able to see it from your email?
I'm going to check my email because through the chat, I am not able to. Just a second, please.
Okay, take your time. Okay, you tell me when you get it. Thelma, were you able to find it?
I just checked my mail. I don't have in
You
my
don't
mail.
have it? Okay,
No.
let me send it right now. Thelma, can you type your name in the chat? And your email in the chat?
Just a second, please.
Yeah, take your time, please. And it doesn't have to be your school email, whatever email is easiest for you to get to. So if you have an email you like to check more often, go ahead, type that one in. Okay, and then I'll send it to everyone's email address one more time. Oh, okay. Tell me, let me send that to you right now, okay? Give me 1 second.
I got it. Thank
Did you
you.
get it? Okay, thank you
Yes.
very much. Okay. So let's start with problem number 1. There we go. Okay. Let's start with problem number 1. Go ahead and try that one. So for number 1, 15% of my candies were strawberry. I had 30 strawberry candies. How many candies did I have? So we can see that 15% is associated with the 15%. And I want to know how many total did I have? So we can do cross multiplication and do 30 times 100 divided by 15. And we get 200. So try doing number 2. So the 27% that failed the math test. So we're gonna bring the 100 up. It feels like 200. The answer said 146. That doesn't feel right. Let's see. 54 divided by 0.27. I got 200 on this one also. 54 failed a math test. This is 27%. Oh, how many students passed the test? I'm sorry. This should be 93%. I'm sorry, not 73%. What percent passed the test? So what we want to know is what percent passed the test. So that's why we're doing it that way. So it should be 54 divided by 27 is equal to times 73 is equal to X. And that's why you get 146. And the way I got the 73% is that this is the 100% minus 27%. So this is the percent that failed, and this is how many that failed. So this is the percent that passed, and this is how many that passed. So try doing number 3. So on this one, number 3, we want to find the percent. We're going from $1,500 to $1,200, which means that we saved $3,000, right? This is right here is 1,500 minus 1,200. Okay. Now we're not, remember that number is always positive. Now it wants to know what percent of the discount. So it's not asking what percent is the final price. It's saying, hey, what percent is the discount? That's the discount. So I get 3,000 divided by 1,500. So go ahead to question 4. Now, I know I've been a little bit easy about homework. If you have a emergency, something happens, just contact me and I'll work with you. But now that everyone has my email, I definitely need to see your homework before next week. Okay. Now that I've sort of followed up with everyone on this week. So please be sure to send your homework before next week. Okay, so let's look at number 4. So let's separate this into 2 groups. It looks like we have 2 groups. This is 4. We have the group that has blue eyes. And we have the group that has no blue eyes. So 140 have blue eyes. 75% do not have blue eyes. So the question is, they only gave me two numbers, where do I find the other number? Well, I know that if 75% does not have blue eyes, then that the opposite, 25% has blue eyes. So I have to be able to figure that out. And now when we do this, we get x is equal to 140 times 75 divided by 25. So 140 times 3 is 420. Okay, try doing number 5. And we'll make this the last one. And then your homework assignment, I'll email it to you with the video, is to do all the problems from both worksheets. And then remember to double check your solutions. Some of the percent problems I did a little more long-winded, but the answers are correct. So go ahead and use the technique that we used here. I'm slowly getting better at teaching this after a lot of years. So if you see a different technique, don't worry about it. The answers are still the same. Okay, so for number 5, we have 225 students that are blonde, and we want to know how many total students are. And whenever we do total, that's always going to be 100%. Total or original. So we get 225 times 100 divided by 15. And we get 1,500. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks for working so hard. I will email you the video, the recording of this later tonight. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.